Oh, we have Rob here. Hey, Rob.
Welcome,
We're back.
everybody. We're
You're
back.
back online. There you go.
All
Rob,
right.
you look sharp. You look all like ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think this is exciting for me. I joined Lyzr about the beginning of January, and as a I'm running the strategic alliances. So it's great to work with AWS again. I was there for 7 years as a PDM,
Mm.
and I'm really excited to talk about Nova models and Lyzr Agent Studio. So Sashi, thanks so much for joining. Sorry about this kind of weird start, but
Okay.
why don't you give a
Remember,
brief introduction and off we go.
yeah, remember I told you about demagogues? See, I was right.
You were right. Whenever they can come in, Murphy's Law is very hard, very heavy here, no doubt
There you
about
go.
it.
There you go.
All
So,
right,
yeah,
great. Before we get started,
yeah, let's
let
do
the show,
that.
I take it, right?
Hmm.
All right, awesome. So again, thanks very much for being here today. Really excited, as I mentioned, to talk a little bit about what we're doing here. I'd like to start off just by telling you what to expect from today. I think one of the interesting things that we read recently was Matt Garman, CEO of AWS, who had said that Agentic has the potential to be their next multi-billion-dollar business for AWS. And it's thinking big at AWS as usual. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Agent Studio, what it's about, our enterprise focus, and our overall vision. And Shashi is going to talk about the Nova models. He's going to help us understand what they are. What the sort of tagline is: price performance, and what that means, and how customers are using them. And if we do our jobs today, then you guys will understand what we mean when we talk about safe and reliable agentic systems. You'll get an understanding of how our agent apps integrate in with AWS's infrastructure and Nova foundation models. You will understand the AWS platform a little bit better, and you'll know that we are built 100% on AWS. We'll have talked, Sashi will have shared about Nova's price performance and some of the key things that he wants you to take away. And then lastly, but yeah, very important, is that Lyzr Studio now provides access to Nova foundational models as a first-class citizen. So what that means is that if you sign up for our free package, our community package, then you can try Nova models for free without having to go into your login. Okay, so I'm going to start off just talking a little bit about some of the things that we do. So we are focusing on enterprise multi-agent systems. And what I mean by multi-agent systems, probably best described by telling you about one of our insurance customers. So one of our insurance customers is on ServiceNow, and they were having some issues with their customer service responses and things. And so we started talking to them about how to create a multi-agent system for customer service. And what that means is we have agents specifically for handling voice, for handling chat, and for handling email. And we have a central knowledge base that they all use. So any consistency issues between the different modes is taken care of. And then we also have a human in the loop learning model. So if the knowledge base doesn't have an answer to the question, it goes to a human who then updates the customer as well as the knowledge base. And I just want to bring this up because the customer came back to us and talked about how we replace a significant part of what they get from ServiceNow. And we all know that Satya Nadella from Microsoft had said that in the agent era, SaaS applications are at risk because the business logic is going to be in the agents and not in the SaaS platform. So now I can tell you what we do, right? So we are a agentic platform that helps you build multi-agent systems and safe and responsible systems to support agentic workflows. And some of the top ones are you see here, but why is this important? Here we go. So one of the things that I think we all understand is that depending on who you read, 70 to 90% of all agentic projects now are POCs, and that they don't go to production And part of that, and most, the reason for that are these three things. So hallucinations we all hear about. We hear about unintended agent behavior and unreliable workflows. And so these are the things that we need to address if we're going to do this, right. So these issues were actually something that inspired Accenture venture team to have a competition amongst startup companies. And it was our ability to deal with this that had us win an award for the best Gen AI platform. Also, Amazon has given us where we qualified for a strategic collaboration agreement, a Gen AI strategic collaboration agreement, and as one of the few agent platforms that they're doing this with. And then we started to get some more opportunities. So Harvard was another startup contest, and we entered that, and we won that one too. So that was for most innovative product. And this is giving us and many of our customers a lot of confidence about, why us versus all those other platforms that are out there. The reason is because we focus on enterprise features. So most of these agentic things, open source models and so forth, they don't really focus the way we do on making sure that we are building safe and reliable agent systems. And we do that because we have built features, safe and reliability features, into the native architecture of our product, our agent architecture. We're also designed in a way that developers can work with us because everything we do is API driven. So everything we build, developers can incorporate into systems, they can integrate into data, they can do whatever they need to do in order to build, in order to provide value to their stakeholders. And then we have also a no-code studio, which you'll see when we do some demos, that allows non-technical people to create agents and do it very quickly and do it in a safe and reliable way, working together or with IT or on their own. And then the other enterprise feature is really about policy. So our safe and reliability features, as well as things like role-based access, are all able to set up inside of the Agent Studio. And this, again, is something that you need to think really hard about, because if you want to get into IT, if you want to get into production, you got to go through IT. And IT has set up all these guardrails and all these systems internally to protect the company. And so being able to adopt that is fantastic. So the safe and responsible modules, here you see our architecture that shows what these modules are. And there's over a dozen of them, things like PII redaction, like we're never going to send any kind of personal information to an LLM from an agent. So we have features that we check is when anything that comes into an agent, even if it's agent to agent, we still check for things that could disrupt the processing or try to take over the environment. Then when our agent is doing something, it has to make an external call. Whatever comes back goes through our safe and responsible features as well to make sure it's grounded, fair and unbiased rather. And then whatever gets generated to go out, whether it's out to an agent or to a customer, we also check for make sure the output is humanized and so forth. The Agent Studio, like I said, is supported by, or developers love it because everything is API driven. So when you get into the studio, you can just show an API, cut it and paste it, put it into your code, and off you go. Business users get, this is what our interface looks like, and you'll see you name an agent and you pick your model and you give it a role, and you can start doing things right away. We'll show you how this works in a couple of minutes. And then the organization, here's an example of an administrative screen where you can define who in your organization gets access, and then there's other screens for what they can access and so forth. Now, these multi-agent systems, when I think about, why is this important and how does this fit into a bigger picture and a bigger value proposition for us, is that you can create these multi-agent systems and they can communicate to each other. So our bigger mission is really to have these workflows that have interesting data that people will want to know, to get them connected, and then you can access them, and you're approaching what we call organizational general intelligence. Now, our mission is a little bit bigger than that because we also want this to be open and inclusive. We're not trying to take over everybody's, all of the agents in an organization. We know that's just not possible. So our OpenAI mechanism, or our Open API rather mechanism, allows companies who have invested in Bedrock agents or Agent Force or any of the other agent systems out there, they can link in. And we've also are going to make our safer. We have made our safe and reliable features available for these communications as well. And so this is how we approach organizational general intelligence. Okay, so that's enough about AWS for right now. I'd like to ask Sashi at this point to tell us a little bit more about Amazon Nova Foundation models. Sashi?
Rob, thank you. So before I start, I want to say thank you to everyone who joined. I know people have been saying hi, hello. So let me try to be personal here. Let me say hi, Jessica. Hi, Drew. Hi, Saksham. Hi, Akriti. Hi, Anand. Hi, Anirudh. Hi, Wakar. Hi, Leonard. Hi, Rishabh. Hi, Mohammed. And hi, Shreya. Okay, so this is a good list for now. So yeah, before we get started, I know somebody asked a question around why Nova models. So yeah, I will try to answer that question when I start my presentation. Um, Something a little bit about myself. Like I am Shashi Raina. I am actually the GenAI tech lead for AWS. I work with ISV partners focusing on GenAI space. I've been at AWS for almost 7 years now, and I love it. It's pretty exciting to be part of like this revolution, which is called GenAI. Yeah, let's kind of get started with like why Nova. So changing gears a little bit, let me just kind of introduce like for people who don't know about Nova. Nova is like the Amazon family of foundation models, which is designed to deliver cutting edge AI applications for the customers. And they range from your language understanding models like to creative tasks like video generation and stuff like that. Next slide, please. So why did we do this, right? Like we are very customer driven entity, and we got feedback from customers around three big factors. And I think Rob mentioned how 70% of the POCs are just kind of stuck at POC around. I think that was a number he gave. And we were hearing from a customer like the challenges around like moving from POC to production, and the cost was one of them. And they were pretty happy with the current price performance, and they were getting good results from the models, but they wanted to achieve a better ROI than what they were getting. And so that was one of the reasons we decided to invest in Nova models. The second piece, what we heard was that customers like the fact that there were so many foundation models available out there, but they want a bit more flexibility, ability to customize the models to get better accuracy and to make it more relevant to the business cases. And that was another reason we were like, okay, let's invest, some resources to get, this flexibility out there for our customers. And last but not least was safety and reliability aspect. And Rob also touched on that. But it's very important for any enterprise, any customer to take the workloads from POC to production and in a very secure and reliable fashion. So those are three important factors I want to call out. Next slide, please. So let me share some of the top use cases we are seeing for Nova, and this is across different industries. These are more like horizontal use cases, and a lot of people will resonate with what I'm going to say. Like there's obviously the first use case. And again, this is not in order of any preference. This is just like a list out of like any sort order out there. But I would call out like the use of Gen AI assistant chatbots, especially in the Q&A and customer service realms. There's also like a use case for summarizing the documents, right, which is content summarization. And since the Nova model are multi-model, it kind of adds a new dimension. So think about like customers who have PDF files, right? PDF files can have your text and images. Now, if you want to process those files, you need a multi-model model like Nova to kind of interpret it like both the images and the graphs and the text, right? The knowledge search is something which I'm seeing getting a lot of traction lately, especially with our content creation capabilities. This is something which I feel like is going to grow. The other aspect is the Sonic aspect I want to call out, especially on the data contact center side. Sonic models are gaining traction. So the understanding family of no models is really exciting, and so is like the content creation family of models. I mean, we'll kind of dig into that a little bit next slides. But I want to call out like something very important here. Like think about like a use case where you are a surveillance company, right? You have images, you have video, snippets. You want to kind of analyze them. You want to like figure out the information from them. This is a great use case you can use the models, no models out here for. Next slide. So did we miss the slide? I think if we go back a bit, little bit. Yeah, why? So I know somebody was asking, like, on the chat, like, why Noah models, right? So there are a few things I'm going to call out here about the Noah models. Like, now, first of all, if you look at the simplicity point of view, right? Like, the Noah models are built just like any other AWS service. So if you want to use RDS or EC2, it's the same billing, right? So as a customer, you don't need to sign any additional agreements, right? Your procurement doesn't have to sign any additional agreements. These are covered by your standard AWS term of services. So this makes it easy from the legal side, from procurement side, and stuff like that, right? Plus, if you have a EDP, which is the enterprise discount program AWS Amazon offers, you can apply those Nova spending discounts on the EDP. So this basically can be on top of the existing customer commitments towards AWS. Now, the other aspect is, like, being a first-party service also means that we are flexible with pricing. So even though we feel we have the best price, performance ratio in the market, we can still work with customers and give private pricing because we are 1P, which is first-party service, right? The other important aspect is basically the control over the product. Now, with the models with other models we host, we don't control the features or the model releases of the model. So if there's a vendor out there who has a model on Bedrock, for example, they may have a different experience on the model they have available on their platform versus our Bedrock platform, right? And we can't really do much on that, right? We don't control their releases of version releases and stuff like that. But because no one's exclusively Bedrock or only on Bedrock, we don't face this issue. So whatever you see in Bedrock is basically what you are getting to the latest models and latest version out there. So it gives us the influence over the roadmap. We can take the customer feedback, we can grow from there, we can add product features, and we can do all that kind of good stuff out there. And the other aspect is also, like, in terms of the rate limit increases, right? So when customers they start moving to production, they find that the existing rate limits may not be sufficient for the workload, so they want to request rate limit increases. And since, like, AWS own the Nova stack, it's easier for us to do it. Limits of the increase of the limits very faster. Next slide, please. So let's dig into, like, the newer models here. So if you look at the slide, there's three broad categories we talk about, right? There's the understanding models, there's the content generation models, and there's the speech-to-speech models. So under the understanding model, we have four models. There's the micro, there's light, there's pro, and premier. The premier is something a model which was released, like, recently. I think it was like last week, maybe a few days ago, we released that. Micro is text-only model. Is super fast. It's like one of the very low-cost model. Micro model is the basically sorry, micro is the text one. The light one is actually the low-cost model where you can have both image and video and text inputs. The Nova Pro is basically highly capable multi-model model, which has the best combination of accuracy, speed, and the cost. And the Premier, which was released recently, is actually the most capable of them in terms of not only is the reasoning model, out there in the stack we have right now, but it's also a teacher model, which can teach other models in reasoning, and also it can do distillation of the custom models. And the creative models we have is Nova Real and Nova Canvas, and the Sonic is your speech to speech, which is really, I was mentioning how it is catching traction in the contact center realm. With this, like, let me go to the next slide. So this is basically a slide which kind of compare the four types of understanding models we have. I'm just focusing on understanding models right now, just to kind of go with the context of this webinar. Things which I want to call out is the context window, how you see the context window is increasing from the smaller to the larger model, which is from the left to the right. And there's also the fine-tuning aspect, which I want to call out, right? The fine-tuning means that you can kind of make the models relevant to your business domain. So you see the micro and light and the pro can be fine-tuned, and you can do that by Premier, which is a teacher model, or you can use other teacher models out there also to do the same thing. Next slide, please. So one of the really impressive things about the Nova model is the ability to handle complex workflows. Now think about, like, them solving things like human would do, right? So how humans, when they have complex problem, they face complex problem, they systematically break it down into smaller steps, like to make it, like, more consumable and to take action on that. So this is something what Nova does to a complex problem, right? It breaks it down to solve it, and it can also take human into inputs from a computer screen or from computer interfaces and automate that, which is very powerful because you can mimic, like, a human behavior while they are operating a computer screen, for example, right? Now, what makes Nova especially powerful is how it integrates with other systems. Now, in this case, it can connect with the Bedrock, service. It can use the knowledge bases in the Bedrock for more accurate and grounded responses, which is your typical RAG pattern. It can also apply specific complex rules. And I know Rob was mentioning about like having, like policies in both input and output side. You could do that via Bedrock also. It can, fine tune both the text and imaging processing side of things, right? So which is, I think, is very valuable. So think of it as a really smart assistant who's not only able to understand what you needs to be done, but also how to do it. Next slide, please. Now, this is basically, intelligent enterprise of kind of like a matrix here, right? So we have designed this model with the flexible range of options. So you can have your most cost-effective micro models on the left side, but they may not be so intelligent comparatively relatively with like other models. And on the extreme right, you have the premium model, right? And in between, you have the whole range. So if you look at the graph, right, like you see like how even within the same cost price, the price ratio or the price point, you can actually get a better intelligence by fine tuning the models. And this is the really valuable aspect which I was mentioning initially, is like how these models can be customized, right? And fine tuning is one way of customizing these models. And as I said, like you can use premium model to customize them. Now think about like this as some like a new when a new employee comes to your team, right? He may be coming from a different company. You have hired him at a certain specific salary, right? Now within the same salary, you are able to make him better to do the job which this company needs from him or her in this case, right? So this is something similar we are doing with these models. So within the same price, we are fine tuning them to your domain specific challenges, nomenclature, terminology, so they can give the better output and give you better ROI for that. Next slide, please. So this is a very busy slide, and I want to kind of call out that if you want to have more details, there's a link we'll share at the end. It's called artificial analysis site, which stacks all different models. So this is taken from there, and the top part is basically your output tokens per second, and the bottom is your time for first token, right? Ideally, you want the output, which is tokens, to be a big number to have maximum throughput, and you want your time to first token, which is latency, to be a small number, right? So if you look at the chart, you will see the newer models are actually on the left side or left half side for both of them, which is basically a good thing, right? And if you look at like the DeepSeek and other understanding models, like which are really catching imagination of a lot of people, they are actually on the. If you look at the bottom slide, where time to first token, the understanding models generally take longer time for first token, right? Because they are thinking, they are doing the breakdown of complex tasks. But you will see a Nova is shining even in that category. So I would encourage everyone to go to that website I mentioned, artificial analysis, and they can kind of slice and dice all the data out there and do all the kind of benchmarking they want to do. I know there's some questions which I will address a little later, but I want to kind of go over this slide and we can talk about those questions like a little later. The next slide, please. Okay, so this is basically one of the examples of one of our customers who have used Nova and what they have to talk about that. It's like Trellix. They have a Helix platform which you store billions of events in open Amazon OpenSearch, and they did a RAG pattern on that. And this is a quote from the CTO, which talks about how they were able to derive the value from the Nova models. And I'm quoting him saying that they are 3x faster and almost like 100x more cost effective. And there is link we can share, which is shared on the slide out there, which is basically all repository for all the use cases by different customers. So I would encourage people to go to the link, amazon.com/AI generative dash AI dash Nova on the slide, and take a look at all the different customers and what they have to say about Nova models and how they are gaining better ROI and price performance on that. So with this, I guess I can pause here before I turn over to Rob to see what questions may be there. Let me see. So Sonic is for voice, yes. The model can be trained like Nova models. Okay. Yeah. So yes, the Nova models can be trained, and as I say, like they can be trained via other teaching models or the premium model, which is also a teaching model in our stack. So with this, let me turn over this to Rob, so who will show you how all these things come together in action as part of the demo he has prepared for us. So Rob, you can take it from here. And thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Shashi. So I was particularly impressed with the idea of training the models with training the other, light, micro, and pro with Premiere. And do you know, has that been, are there case studies about that, how that works?
You mean how the fine tuning works? That's what you
Yeah,
said.
fine tuning
Yeah,
works.
yeah. There's a lot of like information out there. I can give a high level like summary like the fine. So so basically, you need your data sets, label data sets, and there's a use case fine tuning. Right? You don't want to like fine tuning needs resources to do that. So you want to fine tune a model if there is a ROI, a better ROI. And for example, I'll give you a simple example. Right? If you can do a lot of like customization through other aspects like prompt engineering. You can use fine tuning. You can use pre-training, right? You can use all the kind of stuff. You can use even agents, right? You can have agents with the rules to basically get you a better output, right? So if you don't fine tune a model in a certain use case and you're calling like you're doing a lot of agentic work to do the right output, you would rather just have a model trained to do that, right? You will save all those cycles, right? So there's a use case depending on what you should do in terms of custody. Should you do a fine tuning? Should you do like prompt engineering? Should you do like agentic kind of orchestration and stuff like that? AWS has option to do that. Like there's a job you can create on the AWS console. You can have the right label data, and it can do like that kind of fine tuning for you. Yeah, does that answer the question?
Yeah, thank you. I think the other option is to use Lyzr. No, I'm just kidding. I think that we're going to be able to take advantage of that for customers.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the kinds of agents you can build with Lyzr? I'm going to get into the demo in a second. So super agents, which are these multi-agent systems that we were just talking a little bit about. A copilot agent is, your typical chat kind of interaction with an agent. And also we have built a number of pre-built agents that you can use and bring into your environment and modify for your specific use case. And we're finding that customers are really excited about that. And we're calling them blueprints. This is an example of a number of blueprints that we have. So we've got on the left here a couple of verticals that we're focusing on. And then across the right, I believe, these are all functional, so they can go across most organizations. But customer service, marketing, sales, HR, and then some other like research things are the way that we're finding customers are getting super excited about how quickly they can get things moving with us. This is an example of one of the hubs. So if I just go back for a second, each one of these columns you can consider to be a hub of a series of agents that would work together to support a number of use cases. And we present that in our agent studio as a hub. So these would be a bunch of agents that customers will get when they buy the banking agents hub as an example. All right. So I have a couple of demos to show you. The first one I like to name demo one. No, it's just show me. So give me a second while I get this set up and jump over here. Okay, can you see this?
Yeah, I can see the screen. Yeah, the agent screen now.
All right, perfect. So one of the things that we're going to show, let me just go back home and show you. This is what the Agent Studio looks like. Give me some information about some of the things that I put together. Down here below are a series of existing agents that could be available. As an enterprise, you would be able to put essentially this marketplace for all of the agents that your organization builds, and you can control who gets access to what. We also have community agents. So we have a large community of builders who have created a series of agents that you could use as well, and then some featured agents. So these are all published agents, meaning that if you click on one of these, you will be able to use the agent, but you're not going to necessarily modify it. So what I want to do is go into my agents, and start with this one that I call the legal document summary creator. And so I have here an 18-page ruling in the Supreme Court, and I'm going to copy this, come back over to my agent, and I will show you how this works. Right now, you'll see this is I picked OpenAI for this, and I'll explain how the agent works in a minute, but I want to get this thing working. So I cut and paste in my window down here the brief, and I submit that to the agent. Oh, I didn't do the right thing. Sorry about that. Let me copy the right thing. I thought that I copied the content. I didn't. I copied the link. All right, here we go. I thought it was fast. There we go. So that's the brief. And now while OpenAI does its thing, I'm going to come over here and show you how this works. So it's the legal document creator. You put in a name and a description. You pick your model. So in this case, I'm going to pick Bedrock now, and I will use the light model, which I know is going to be very good with this kind of activity of dealing with a lot of text. And here's the definition. So first, let's just notice here, this took 27.85 seconds. Okay, somebody remember that, so I remember it.
Yeah,
And
I
the way,
got it. 7.85. Yeah.
all right, awesome. Okay, so, and here are the instructions. So this is the prompt. And you see that we can get pretty detailed. We do break it down into some specific tasks, and we give you an idea of the format. So now if I save to Nova, I'm going to update this agent. And then once this done, so just to check, this is going to be a 100 to 200 word summary. Okay. All right. So that's that. And now I can put this back in. I did update this, right? Yeah. Okay. So now I can put this back in and see how Nova does. All right. 3.79 seconds.
Wow. 27 and 3.7.
3.8, really.
Yeah. That's a huge difference.
That's a huge difference. Okay. So we can read this, or what I'm going to do is actually go back and show you what I'm going to do in demo 2. All right, so if I come over here, now this is demo 2. So here I'm going to show you what a managerial agent in action. And the instructions on this are pretty complicated. First you have to create all your worker agents, and I'll show you those. I've created those. You have to give all these clear instructions. You've got to select the correct model for each of these worker agents, which is Nova models. You got to build the manager agent. When you do that by enabling manager mode, as you see, adding in the worker agents, test and show the activity, and once that's done, you could integrate with an existing app, or you could vibe code an app with, Cursor or Lovable or one of those things. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the studio.
Mm-hmm.
It stopped writing while I was away from it.
Yeah, one thing I was wondering, Rob, like for the Bedrock access, like does people need to have AWS account for using Bedrock with Lyzr, or how does that work?
So when you create an agent, and I'm going to be doing this in a minute, but I'll
Okay.
just show you anyway. When I create an agent, I get to choose my provider, and
Okay.
so I can use, in this case, in our studio, we have my account at Bedrock,
Mm-hmm.
but this week we're going to be making this just like any one of these other public.
Oh,
Uh,
nice.
yeah. So anyone who doesn't have Bedrock yet, doesn't have Nova, but is trying to make a decision, can
Mm.
come over here and they can use Bedrock and the Nova models. So when I pick
Nice.
here, you'll see right now we've got Micro, Light, and Pro available, and we'll have the rest of the models available, I'm
Mm.
told, within a week or so.
That's awesome, because that just enables anyone, everyone, like to try out like Nova on Lyzr, even they may not have an AWS account and or credit card. That's kind of good stuff in that sense.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly. I think that's one of the things that's super exciting about our partnership. All right, so let me show you. First of all, I'm going to have basically what this is going to be is this is exactly what I'm going to rebuild. So this is a Major League Baseball summary and distribution agent. It's a multitask agent that will create a summary of a baseball team. I'm using Nova Pro for this because this is orchestrating and coordinating from my other agents. And so basically, I'm telling this to create a summary using a tool, and the agent is calling a tool, and then summarize it, and then create an email and send it out with the other tool. And you'll see down here that these are the tools. We've got the researcher and the email writer. Okay, and you'll see, like for example, the email writer. we'll go into just this one, and then I'm going to create. I want to make sure that we have some time later. So this is using Nova Light. It's an email writer, and the prompt here is to create an email newsletter and send it out to the subscribers, and given an email address. And so this is what I've been tuning with this. It's not completely perfect, but it'll just still work. And so what I will do is I will first show you how this works. I just provide access. Give me a second here. And what I have to do is just give it a team and give it a team and an email address to send this to. And you'll see it's this is my personal address, and no comments about Boston Red Sox because that's my team. All right. Now, interestingly, what you can do is you can take a look at what's going on in this agent. So, starts off calling the summary builder agent, and then there's some thought process, and here's the agent response and the arguments, and the manager agent will look at it and probably go and review it and ask for it again, just to make sure that it's getting good data. So you get all this. I think eventually we're going to probably do some statistics about, or some other visual representation of this, but you can obviously take a look and see all of the data that you're getting for the summary. Okay, so this has also been completed, and then this is the response. Basically, there are no further actions completed, and so let's go take a look. Fingers crossed. No, it doesn't look like it worked. Let's go back in, see what happened. Here's Murphy's Law again.
I was just like crossing my fingers. Is the process complete?
Let me just go back and make sure that this is running. This is updated. This is updated. Okay, so let's try one more time. Update.
Update. It hasn't been updated.
Try one more time.
Inference taker.
Did the call. It's processing. It seems like it might have a tool. Might be a problem with the tool, with the in the writer.
Yeah, is it what kind of, is it calling a?
So the first task is calling an LLM to create this, and then the second task is calling an email. Is calling a Gmail agent. I mean a Gmail tool that's connected. So we have options for tons of tools, different models, knowledge bases, data connectors. So all those things become available for these multi-agent systems, or for agents in their own. Retries 3. Task has already been completed. The email has been successfully sent. Okay, let's take a look and see what we get here. Email has been sent. Come on, Sashi. There it is. Okay, so here's my email talking about the Red Sox, roster highlights. I want to get rid of these stars, but I haven't been able to figure that one out yet. But that's just a formatting and a prompt change. Okay, so now let's build it. Let me show you how easy it is to build. Okay, so I'm going to create a new, and I'm going to cheat a little bit because I don't really want to type under pressure.
And how are we doing the time? We have like around 10 minutes left. We on track, right? No?
Yeah, we just have questions and answers after this.
Mhm.
So we're good. All right. So I'm building an MLB agent, the description, create a summary of a baseball team, and send it. I'm going to go and select Pro, the agent role. I think it's right here, actually. And then, so basically, you're a coordination agent. Your task is to manage and facilitate interactions between users and the various agents, focusing initially on the team report. Okay, and then the prompt is this. This is the same prompt that we saw before. Okay, and now I turn on the manager agent. I come down and I select my agents. Okay, so the first one is the research agent. And basically I want to use this agent to create the summary of a baseball team. Okay, and then my second one, I want to add another agent. This is going to be my email writer and sender. And this, of course, is, I'm going to use this tool to basically create and send an email. Okay. Now I don't have to select a tool, but I could, like this is how you would select like your Gmail tool, but I don't need that in the manager because I'm getting that from the email writer. All right, I'm not using a knowledge base. I'm not doing a data query, but if I had a database, I could do that. And then this prompt would be different. And I would have data connectors that I could use, something like this. Oh, I hope I didn't just screw myself up. I think I did. I didn't save that, did I?
Mhm.
All right, sorry about that. Let's do this quickly. Okay, now I'm going to create the agent so I know it'll be saved. Okay, and I'll show you around the agent while we're testing this out. All right, here we go. So as I was saying, this is where you would turn on things like short-term memory or long-term memory. Now, whenever there's a managerial agent, the short-term memory is automatically turned on because the information flows from one agent to another. All right, let's see how this is going. So all these safe and responsibles are here as well. Okay. Any other questions in the queue while we're waiting?
I don't. I'm trying to read. I don't see anything yet.
All right. How about you? Shashi?
No, let's go.
Yeah. One other thing, though, I think I mentioned a lot is the API. So here you get sort of here's the inference API that you could use in another. You can just copy it and put it in another app. Oh, you know what? I think I might have to do the same thing with these agents.
There is a question, Rob, for Lyzr. We put on the chat. You can
Yeah,
take.
it's on the. Okay, I gotta come over here. Can you just read it to me?
Yeah, I can do that. Would love to know if there is any way within Lyzr AI to work on front end piece.
Not yet, but there will be. So the front end piece right now, we are integrating. People use vibe coding tools, but we are going to be building more and more closer out to the front end.
Is it? Is it? I'm trying to understand the question. Is it more of the white label? Like it can be white label Lyzr? Is that what the intent is here? Like, or is just something else?
I don't know. I mean, that's the beauty of the API is you can connect it in with anything that you built.
Got it. Mhm.
All right, I think what I have to do is go back and hit these again. It worked last time. Let's see if it works this time.
Yeah, just time check. We have 5 more minutes, Rob. So
Okay. All right. So we're just going to give it one more shot and then we'll go. So this has been a ton of fun.
yeah, I
And
just want to talk. I hope. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but Krishna asked this question about Lyzr AI. I hope that answers your question, Krishna. Sorry, go ahead, Rob. You were saying something.
no, I just saying we're going to give this one more shot and then we're going to show you guys sort of just wrap up the presentation.
Yep.
All righty. Hmm. I don't think it worked. Well, not a good way to end, but I think you guys are getting the sense of how this works.
Right. We're talking about demigods. What demigods? Happy, and then they were sad. They were upset. So yeah.
No, it's
There's
all
a
right.
question.
I think that the purpose of the thing, one of the things to take away is the importance of iteration. When you're
Exactly.
building these things in 3 or 4 minutes, then you're bound to find some issues. I'll go back and debug that thing again a little bit later, but you guys don't have to watch me do that unless you want to. So thank you, everybody.
Sorry, Rob.
There's
There's a question which I think we should address before we leave.
Okay.
The question: how can one get access to JSON AI? So
Yeah, so Jason is one of our pre-built agents, and so you can go on to studio.lyzr.ai, and you will be able to. I mean, is this someone who? Are you an existing customer, or you're looking to try it out, or?
didn't say that, but
Okay,
you can
I think the best thing to do is to book a demo with us,
okay.
and can we put that link in the chat for everybody?
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a
So
question from Akshay, just so that people know. Mhm. Okay, so yeah, they will put the link. But yeah, let's wrap it up. If you don't have anything else going on, we
yeah,
can give like, some leads, next best action steps here for the audience.
Yeah, so basically here's some links that you guys can use. There's Studio where you can go and sign up and use a free plan and test out Nova models. Um, Lyzr Academy is also something that we have, which has got lots of information about our platform, but not just our platform, about Agentic AI. This is the link over here on the Nova side for artificial analytics or analysis. I may have done that wrong. That Shashi shared, and the action is to get on the community plan and check it out, and also connect with, if you get a chance, with Sashi and myself on LinkedIn. I think the link is right.
Yeah, I also dropped the link internally, which can be shared with the audience.
Okay,
I think how you can share with the audience. Yeah.
beautiful. All right.
Mm.
So with that, I think we're done. Sashi, thank you so much. It's
Thank you,
been great.
Rob. Thanks everyone out there who spent like 1 hour with us. So appreciate you giving us time. Yeah, happy to be here and happy to work with you, Rob, on this one.
Yeah, my pleasure. Let's do another one.